There's a lot of anti-soy marketing that's been going on for years. The meat and dairy industry have known for decades that this is going to be their competition. So they started creating misinformation about soy like 30, 40, 50 years ago.
I'm so happy to hear you speak of the joys of soy milk, because I'm sure you know this too, there's always so much pushback about soy. And you know, it's like beating a dead horse sometimes, but it's so nice to hear you say it. And
there's a lot of anti-soy marketing that's been going on for years. The meat and dairy industry have known for decades that this is going to be their competition. So they started creating misinformation about soy like 30, 40, 50 years ago. They started creating the misinformation. And you can see that misinformation campaign has trickled into everybody's, like many people's consciousness.
Even
right? And the other problem is that now a lot of the plant-based companies, they started making like almond milk and oat milk and all these other things. Now that's okay, but the problem is that it's generally protein deficient. Right.
Yes.
So in many cases, you're drinking white water. Let's call it white water that has some calcium and B12 mixed in a package that is not environmentally friendly at all.
And
marketed as environmentally friendly and healthy, but that's a problem. Now, if we know for a fact that people are getting B12, calcium, and getting their protein, getting enough protein from other stuff, you know for a fact you're getting enough protein from other sources. Great, go ahead, drink the almond milk.
Yeah,
exactly.
But in many cases we don't, especially in India. So I think that soy is the champion. And when you're measuring the environmental sustainability, don't just measure it per liter of milk. Measure it per gram of protein. How sustainable are you per gram of protein? How much water, greenhouse gases, land, pesticides are being used per gram of protein? And then using that metric, you'll find that soy milk is the champ. And in many cases, we don't use the right metrics to measure sustainability. We should be measuring sustainability per gram of protein as well.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, that we try so hard to, you're right, soy milk is really, especially if it's fortified, it's the perfect and better replacement for cow and buffalo milk.
100%.
In our case, I mean, we do ask them to look at dal and lentils and chickpeas and rajma and, root vegetables to supplement their protein. But you're absolutely right. Not
everyone has that much time.
No, and despite us repeating the same thing over and over again, like a broken record, there is this thing that, dals and all will give me gas. If they even they make a switch to, let's say, almond milk. Like I said, almond milk is basically white water, even though that's what I have in my cup. I'm just, it's true.
Tasty.
But yeah, it's tasty. It's tasty.
Yeah.
And, I mean, for me, I just wanted to skip it out. But then when we talk about getting a, good source of protein, we talk about other things besides
that's why our kids drink soy milk every morning.
So it's, it works out.
That's an important point. For kids, kids should be drinking soy milk, especially if they're growing, not other plant-based milks.
And we've probably said this in our podcast, but the flavor can be an issue. But if you slowly introduce them, like our youngest, although he had soy milk when he was smaller and he couldn't protest, recently, now he's 5, he was like, I don't like it. But slowly we kind of reintroduced it, and now he without problem has it every morning, and our older one loves it. So we're happy that they're having their perfect protein breakfast before they head off to school. So for kids it's really important.
And I guess it's worth saying, just since we were physicians talking about this topic, below the age of 1 year, breast milk and formula are the recommended sources of nutrition for babies, especially breast milk. But a lot of people do use formula. And after the age of 1, when we're, let's say, transitioning to people start transitioning to dairy milk in most cases, that is the time that you can transition not to other plant-based milks, but to fortified soy milk. Soy milk, not just like a soy milk minus calcium and minus B12, but fortified soy milk is what we would want at that point.
That's the perfect.
And so that's the proper recommendations. And then fantastic. I think the taste of spray dried soy milk or like different soy milks, fresh soy milks are really good. There may be some taste adaptation.
Taste adaptation. This means, as we've probably said before, and as many scientific studies have suggested, that your taste buds, after about 21 to 30 days, that's 3 to 4 weeks, actually change and adapt to your new dietary preferences and dietary routine, which is great news for someone trying to adopt a healthier lifestyle. All right, back to the show.
But I think in most cases, the evidence shows that when you try something and you eat it for a little while, your taste very much adapts.
Your taste buds change.
And when I consume the spray dried soy milk in India, when I'm there, that's what I use, and then I encourage my family to use it, but also supplement their B12 and take other things that has calcium in it. But I'm looking for that perfect soy milk, which will encourage Urban Platter to do. But one thing is that dairy milk has about 6 grams of sugar per 250 ml serving. That's lactose that's in the dairy milk.
Naturally occurring. Right?
Yeah.
Naturally, it occurs. It just occurs there, right? I don't know if you call dairy milk natural when it comes in by humans, but
it's not been added.
It's in there.
So it's important for the audiences to know that there's 6 grams of protein. 6 grams of sugar.
6 grams of sugar. So when we and that's a small amount of sugar, but it affects the taste. So when I tell people to make the Urban Platter or MK soy milk, I say put a small bit of sugar in there, like the equivalent of around 6 grams. You may not weigh it, but if you put like a half teaspoon or a little teaspoon, small teaspoon of sugar, it changes the flavor of that soy milk so that it's, instead of being sugar free, it sort of matches the level of dairy milk.
Right.
And that's a big factor in the taste adaptation.
Yeah.
But that small amount of sugar is not going to really impact your health.
Cause any major issues.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't. It's kind of equivalent. And if you want it without the sugar, fine, great. But for most people, they're going to want that tiny bit of sugar. So that's a tip on how to use the spray dried stuff.
That's what I do.
To remember that.
That's what I do. My soy milk has got a little bit of sugar in it.
Yeah, for your cereal.
Yeah. So it's a question of trying to figure out the fine points to make people to have people really enjoy the stuff in the Indian setting or wherever, right? To take full advantage.
So I think we were talking before we started the podcast that we need to have you back and have several episodes because we've only just skimmed the surface of what we want to ask you. So I think maybe today's we can end now.
Yeah.
But I still have a major list of questions that we want to go through with you, but you've given us so much information already, so many great tips and so many, as Ajoy said, some good business ideas and to help. I mean, you're right. It's not just about people's health. It's about the environment. It's about social equality and so many things that there are, for our audience and for us to think about too, that sometimes we don't even think about. So I'm excited to think of more things to ask you next time.
Yeah.
Anything that you want to ask today before?
No, I think we've kind of skimmed the surface, and I think that's great because I can think of a bunch of questions, subtopics, or lead-in questions that I would love to ask Dr. Mehta later on. So at this point in time, let's just stop.
Say bye-bye for now.
Yeah, bye-bye for now.
Yeah. That sounds good. And certainly we can, the topics that are my strength to cover are, I think we've touched on them, plant-based nutrition for sure, evidence-based plant-based nutrition, and then subtopics within that, even things like, what are the best plant-based meats, how to use transition foods properly.
Yes, we love to talk about
that. Or looking at the quality and analyzing different transition foods because they are different. They're, the plant-based milks, Indian habits, the overall topic of approaching the evidence, like a lot of that, I'm just night and day sort of always thinking about these things and trying to read and know the evidence like that. And then there are things like the environmental impacts. We can sort of do a deep dive into environmental impacts regarding that, and look at also the specifically things like the Indian meat industry, analyze the Indian meat and dairy industry and the impacts, and it's very interesting too. Especially, I guess, especially the topic of dairy because there's a huge, massive dairy industry in India. And what are the environmental impacts and how do they occur, and things like feed conversion ratio, number of cattle, stuff like that. And then pandemics as well. Those are all sort of my strong points.
Yeah, definitely a separate one just talking about the pandemic and zoonotic diseases, meaning diseases coming from animals. So, that one's very relevant now, unfortunately, as people are talking about COVID yet again now. So we'll leave that for another time because, again, we could probably all talk for hours about it.
For sure. So, yeah.
But thank you so much.
Yeah.
So nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys. Or you guys. Wow. Meet you, and hopefully we'll meet you in person soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Take care, guys.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll be in touch soon.
Thanks.
Yes, for sure. Bye-bye.
We really hope you enjoyed our conversation. Can you think about one thing or an idea that you can start to introduce into your own life that will help make your life healthier and less stressful?
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you can take a few seconds to share the podcast with your friends and family. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful week.
And always remember, your health is literally in your own hands. Making lifestyle changes is not an easy task, but we promise you will be aptly rewarded with a long, healthy, and disease-free life.